Okay, so I got a whisper in my ear, and the question goes like this.
It wasn't God.
Yeah, it was Stephen. Let me clarify that. It was a familiar voice of Mr. Dunn. All right, and I'm not sure where to go with this, so I'm just going to lay it out there. What are your plans for your summer vacation this year? What's on your mind? What do you intend to do? What's that look like? Okay, oh, I'm supposed to keep going.
1, 2, 3, go.
This is too funny.
Not really.
Usually we are where Woody is when he's up there saying, oh God, I just don't want to do this. So what are your plans for summer?
Well, I got 3 days at the beach.
Is that all?
Actually, yeah, it is.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. so you think this is funny?
Yeah.
As structured and organized as Steve is, this is driving him crazy.
Yes, it is.
You're an engineer, aren't you?
Well, not right now. I'm not. I'm just trying to maintain my. Can you see my knees knocking right now? All right, God, you're a wonderful God. We just need you to be here right now. You know, when you're talking about vacation and the things that we talked about last night. Again, you know, I wish we did have a camera the night before. You know, it's exciting about talking about God and the things that He has for us. See, my mind, when Stephen says that, is from where I was to where I am now. You know, it's that relationship with God. You know, how am I going to be any different after this summer's over? What of value am I, going to accomplish? You know, as far as my relationship with God. Going to the beach is great. I love being with my kids and hanging out with them. But what about eternal value? You know, how am I going to be different? How am I going to be different? I don't like the guy I used to be. I'm glad of the guy I am now. But you know what? I'm not really satisfied with the person I am now. You know, I need to be somewhere else, and I need to be someone else. And that only comes to that relationship with God. You know, I need to allow Him in my life. You know, what changes am I allowing Him to make in my life? What changes am I trying to make in my life to be different? We all have stuff, right? You know, I talk to you guys. I know the stuff that we have in our lives. Is that okay? Is that acceptable? You know, are you who you want to be right now? Are you where you want to be in your life? Are you satisfied with the conditions, with your life situations? You know, do you have any regrets? If today was the last day you were to live, would there be any regrets in your life? Is there anything you left undone? Is there someone or something you wanted to do that you haven't done? Is there someone you needed to forgive? Is there something you needed to repair? Is there someone you wanted to be? Did you have a goal in your life to reach? And what part of that was God? What part of that is God in your life? If you were to die today and you stood before God, and He's going to ask you, there is a coming judgment. Do we think the things we're doing now, there's not a consequence? Or there won't be something that we have to answer for? Are you ready to go? Is your conscience and your heart clear to stand before God, and Him going to greet you, and you're going to have you're going to be joyful to meet Him at this moment? I mean, we will be joyful compared to this life, but think of where we're at now. What's your conscience and your mind and your life right now? Is there something you would like to have done before that moment? I know there is for me. You know, I enjoy my life because God's in it. But I don't want to be where I am now at the end of this summer. So I got to figure out what do I need to do to make that difference. And that's the same question for all of us. How can we be different? If we're satisfied with who we are, we don't need to be here then. You really don't. It isn't about just getting together, guys, and hanging out on a Saturday morning. It's about becoming different men. So we need to be taking action to be different men. Don't just sit here and have a good meal and chat and walk out of here and just wait till next Saturday to do the same thing. What's the point? There isn't one. There isn't one. So let's make a difference. We need to make a difference. And the only person who can make a difference in your life is you, and how much you allow God to change who you are. He's willing. He's ready to make a difference in your life, but we have to take the step to do that. We really do. If I just stand here with my hands in my pocket, just hanging out, what's he going to do? I'm making no effort. When you came to Christ, if you have given your life to Christ, what did you have to do? You had to actually take that step across the line. God did everything else, but you had to take the step. So what's your next step? What are you going to do? So I'm going to leave it with that and turn it over to Mr. Dunn.
And it's pretty amazing. Believe it or not.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry. But believe it or not, both of us. From last week, Steve spoke, and both of us were writing on the same thing last night at about the same time. Totally separate things, but all going back to this whole thing about living a life and for the future, for eternity, and what that really looks like. And for me, that it's coming to me in a couple ways this week. First off, with Memorial Day. I mean, do you know the beginning of Memorial Day and what that really is? I mean, it actually started in the 1860s. It was actually originally called Decorations Day. And it was a time back in the Civil War when these several groups of ladies in the Confederacy went down and decorated the graves of the fallen Confederate soldiers. And there was this understanding at that point, and people started saying, we need to remember the dead. We need to remember those who have fallen, those who have given their lives. And it wasn't until 1868 that it actually officially became a proclaimed date, where they set a date and they honored all of those who had fallen during the Civil War, both the Union and the Confederate soldiers, and that's when it started in the Arlington Cemetery. But of course, the South, being rebellious as we are, and always have been, and still fighting the war in so many ways, we decided we weren't going to abide by that, so we set our own dates. But the whole idea was to remember. Remember those people. But do we? Do we really remember any of that? Hey, Memorial Day comes and it goes. It's the official kickoff of summer for so many people. Colleges are out. We start planning on vacations. We start going our way and start focusing on, all right, I got time off this summer. I can be outside. I can take weekends. I can go and I can do. King's Dominion opens this weekend. All of those things start playing in. And very quickly, we move from focus. Where am I spiritually? Where's my relationship with God? And turning around and saying, man, it just needs to be about me. I'm tired. I've been focusing on my relationship with God all year. I need to take the summer off. Yeah. How's that going to work out for you? Trust me, it won't. So we come down to this weekend. And I have to admit, this talk today is a struggle. This talk pretty much has already been talked. Steve pretty much already covered everything. This talk wasn't even really written down until last night. Not because it wasn't important, but because I could not get a piece about what I had planned to talk about. So I just need to tell you. There are no questions on sheets of paper. There is no planned itinerary.